The First Siege of Carlisle was a pivotal moment in the 1745–1746 Jacobite rising, led by Prince Charles Edward Stuart. On November 14 and 15 of 1745, Jacobite forces loyal to Stuart captured the city of Carlisle and Carlisle Castle. The background of the siege can be traced back to intelligence received by Stuart that British Commander-General George Wade was advancing with British forces from Newcastle to relieve Carlisle, and had already arrived in Hexham. In response, Stuart decided to meet and attack Wade on hilly grounds between Newcastle and Carlisle. However, after waiting at Brampton for 2 days without any sign of Wade, a council of war was held to determine the next steps for the Jacobite army. Lord George Murray, a respected Jacobite commander, proposed that half of their force should stay at Brampton while the other half besieged Carlisle. This plan was supported by James Drummond, 3rd Duke of Perth, who offered to take charge of the force to attack Carlisle if Murray took command of the blockade. On November 13, the regiments appointed for the blockade and siege of the city of Carlisle appeared before it, and the siege began that evening. The city's garrison constantly fired upon the attacking Jacobite force, but as the Jacobites were operating under the cover of night, they received no injuries. The following morning, the Jacobites brought up all of their cannon, consisting of 13 pieces, to attack the town with. Alarmed by the preparations of the Jacobites and the state of affairs within the city, a meeting of the English inhabitants was held and it was decided to surrender the town. However, Prince Charles refused to grant any terms to the city unless Carlisle Castle was also surrendered. Colonel Durand, the commander of the castle, agreed to the conditions, and the capitulation was signed on the night of November 14. The next morning, the Duke of Perth entered the city at the head of his regiment, and was followed by other regiments at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The capture of Carlisle was of great importance to the Jacobite cause. It secured a strong foothold in the north of England and created a base for further operations. It also served as a morale boost for the Jacobites and a demonstration of their capabilities to the British government and the wider public. The siege of Carlisle also had significant consequences for the inhabitants of the city. Many of them were put in constant alarm by the Jacobites' presence and many numbers of them were leaving by slipping over the walls. The surrender of the city also resulted in the loss of arms, ammunition, and horses belonging to the militia.